Hi there, KOIN 6 Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart here with your latest weather forecast. We got a lot to unpack because a lot has happened within about the past 24 hours, one of which means the return of the wet weather. So a very exciting sight for much of the Pacific Northwest as we had gone number of days, over 10, without any true measurable rainfall. Yes, by the start of May, we were able to pick up on just a few stray raindrops that amounted to about a trace, but not really measurable for us. And it's a good thing to see the return of that moisture force here across the Pacific Northwest. It all came Sunday with a few isolated rain showers, but it was really impressive today. Here's just a bit of a time-lapse view of what we saw racing over our heads in downtown Portland as really our skies opened up with those heavy downpours at times. This was just around 4 or 5 o'clock or so in the evening as this latest batch of wet weather moved through. Now, the cell that you're seeing here race across our area, that actually was able to produce one single lightning strike out over the West Hills, and then it kind of fizzled out, but still left behind some of that wet weather. So again, just a very welcome sight for us here across the Pacific Northwest. Another just couple of views coming in from not only downtown Portland, but parts of southwest Portland as well. That's where some heavy soaking rains were seen. Maybe even some small hail picked up for some folks. And that was all part of the forecast. We had talked about days prior that Monday was likely going to be the wettest and rainiest day, and that's exactly what has come to fruition thus far as we are slowly starting to dry out our skies here once again. It was a very wet commute. Maybe you were trapped within some of those heavier downpours, made for a slow go at things. Our very own Ariel Yakabazi picking up this video as she drove through the downtown Portland area. So your commute tomorrow, not necessarily going to look like what it was when you were leaving home for this evening. So for Tuesday morning, expected to see a few sun breaks here and there amongst the mostly cloudy skies, but overall smooth sailing. It's tomorrow evening, maybe, and don't let this graphic fool you. It looks kind of aggressive as far as the rain goes. I think you might be lucky enough to pick up on a single raindrop or two, but for the most part, we will be holding on to those mostly cloudy skies. And again, maybe just a stray shower here and there. All right, beautiful live looks coming in, though, from all of our network of cameras, anywhere from downtown Portland, picking up on some of those great sights of the clearing skies and mostly sunny conditions, out towards Forest Grove, also seeing the clouds break down thanks to our Explore Tualatin Valley camera. Still holding on to a bit of that cloud coverage out towards Canby. Maybe even a light rain shower is a possibility here and there. But look, sunshine along the coast, a bit of a reversal of what we typically see for this time of year, where we are actually slightly on the cooler side out towards the valley locations as opposed to what we experienced earlier today out along the shoreline. So as our clouds slowly break apart, we are still cooling our temperatures back, but we were able to climb back up into the low 60s for us, upper 50s up and down the I-5 corridor. And just to put it all into perspective, Portland typically should be seeing our afternoon highs approaching the 70-degree mark. So definitely a cooling trend by nearly 10 degrees of where we should be. But that's all thanks to the accumulative rain. Great sight to see. Our gauges filling up close to about 1/4 of an inch through the I-5 corridor. But you'll notice where the sunshine is out along the coast, only a couple of 1/100ths of an inch since midnight. So really, really nice to see the return of some accumulative rain, especially when we are talking about our rain deficit growing to just a little more than a ½ inch, close to 7/10ths of an inch, as a matter of fact, as we slowly are shrinking that. You'll remember just last week, and even back on Sunday, it was back up to 3/4 of an inch of that rain deficit. So we desperately need to see the rain continuing, especially when we start thinking about wildfire season knocking at our front door. It's just around the corner. All a very real possibility. So these spring-like showers are a welcome sight. Is the monthly normal for May? Should be right around 2.5 inches. All right, our satellite and radar definitely picking up on a few of those scattered showers, but really kind of peeling its way out of the Portland, Vancouver area. We are picking up on maybe a stray raindrop or two trying to work its way back into northern sections of Clark County, but really kind of the brunt of the heaviest of the rain that we experienced about an hour, 2 hours ago, really starting to come to an end at this point in time. We'll zoom in, give you a closer look at the Portland, Vancouver area if you're out and about this evening. I think maybe just keep the rain jacket in the back of the car. That's all you're really going to need over the next several days, regardless. So if it's back there, you're set to go as we dive our way into the forecast for the next week. But as far as that thunderstorm potential goes, garden variety, so nothing in the severe realm. We do have that chance for maybe a quick little rumbler here and there through the rest of this evening, but it's already almost 7:30. Our temperatures are already starting to drop. We're losing that energy that the atmosphere and the sunshine provides us. So as we start to trickle our way through the next several hours, that chance really starts to diminish. And then it entirely pushes its way further off to the east. You can see by tomorrow afternoon, much of the I-5 corridor, the coast, western Oregon, southwest Washington, expected to really start to dry out our skies, but we keep those mostly cloudy conditions going once more. So just kind of keep that in mind as we move our way through the next 24 hours or so. All right, as far as our outlook goes for our weather forecast, we got a low pressure system right now situated over the Pacific Northwest. That's going to be tracking its way further off to the east, and that's going to keep the flow of moisture back into our area. Also, that cooler pocket of air is also going to be sitting over much of the Pacific Northwest, but you'll notice it's that high just to the west of us. That's a very weak ridge, so that means warmer, sunnier skies on the horizon, although we'll kind of shake away some of that sunshine for some mostly cloudy skies. But our temperatures definitely trying to push their way closer to that 69 degree, which is our average in Portland for this time of year. So that's kind of the breakdown as far as what we anticipate to see over the next 48 hours. We'll time it out even more detail here with the future cast. That's where we're picking up on mostly cloudy skies, but dry conditions for the rest of the night tonight. Again, maybe if you're over the Coast Range, the foothills of the Cascades, you might be able to pick up on a stray raindrop or two. But for the most part, we're really starting to dry out those skies. We could have a few cloud breaks to allow a little bit of sunshine to rain down. But again, if you're over the high terrain of the Cascades or even points eastward of the Cascades, that's where we do have that potential for a few light scattered showers for Tuesday afternoon. Moving into Wednesday, the rain really starts to ramp back up again, really for the coastline for your morning commute. Few light rain showers for Wednesday morning across the Willamette Valley. Then as we move our way into the afternoon, they kind of fall apart a little bit, still holding on to the mostly cloudy skies and building up our rain gauges all the way through Wednesday, close to about a quarter of an inch for much of the I-5 corridor, closer to about a tenth or so for the coast. Again, helping to shrink that rain deficit. If you're just now joining us here on this KOIN Now weather update, that's where we have already managed to pick up on a little bit more than a quarter of an inch. But for tonight, falling back to about 49 degrees. So those clouds definitely acting like a blanket overhead to keep us on the comfortable side, as our winds are going to be out of the west-southwest at about 3 to 5 miles per hour. All right, look to the sky tonight. Our moon rises at 9:21, hopefully having the potential to actually pick up on some of those moon views, as May is known as the flower moon because of all of the blooms and blossoms we are currently seeing across our area. So hopefully we'll be able to see May's full moon, which I think is a possibility. You can see the clouds already below me starting to break apart. So we have the potential to really kind of pick up on that trend as the clearing continues tonight, but still keeping some clouds in the mix. All right, as far as what's on tap for tomorrow, expecting to see those temperatures along the coast get back up into the mid to upper 50s, approaching 60 degrees once more for the I-5 corridor. Again, mostly cloudy to start the day. It's going to be over the higher terrain of the Coast Range that we start to pick up on a bit more of that wet weather. Out towards the east, far east corner of the state, that's where we could potentially see maybe a stray raindrop or two embedded within a brief thunderstorm. Again, nothing severe, but definitely a potential. And up in elevation, we're kind of winding down that snow potential as we move into these warmer months. 44 for Government Camp, not conducive enough to really allow for any production of snow up in elevation, but maybe the very top of Mount Hood is able to pick up on just a few snowflakes. All right, our 7-day forecast, that's where we are really looking at a significantly cooler outlook as opposed to what we have been experiencing over, I would say, the past 2-3 weeks. Ending April on a dry note, starting May on a dry, warm note. Now we bring in that wet weather potential. Seeing a few scattered showers Wednesday. Your Tuesday definitely much drier. And then Thursday, we start the day off dry before the next batch of rain moves in during the overnight hours. But then we warm back up almost to 70 degrees on Friday. And a few widespread rain showers are a possibility come Saturday. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to ask them in the comments below here on Facebook. We're also streaming on YouTube and that's where we can hopefully get you the latest update on our weather forecast, because there's a lot to unpack with this big weather shakeup. Yeah, it's rain. It's the Pacific Northwest. It's what we anticipate. But it's been a while since we've picked up on these cooler conditions. So a very welcome sight to actually see this come to fruition, because we want to shrink that rain deficit as we start working our way closer to the wildfire season, the summer season, our hot, dry stretch of weather, where we typically by the end of May into June start moving in that direction. Now, fire season really kind of gets going in the month of July, August, September, before those fall rains come back in and kind of suppress that threat a little bit. So right now is the time to keep our fingers and toes crossed that hopefully this does not turn out to be a bad fire season for us whatsoever. But we got to be very cautious as we do pick up on some of those rain showers. Always a welcome sight, but then you're left with views like this. Drying conditions once again. So definitely going to be keeping a very close eye on the Pacific Northwest here over the next several days. So that's going to do it for this KOIN Now weather update. Be sure to tune into The 10 on Portland CW tonight at 10 o'clock, and then join Liz and I at 11 o'clock on CBS. Or if you have not already, now's the time to download the brand new KOIN Plus app. That's where you can stream on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and also on Apple TV. We'll see you over there. Have a great rest of your evening.